All right, today we're going to dare ask the question. With so many videos and speeches now coming out of the Biden administration, leading folks to suggest that he never intended to pursue unity, the question we're asking today is, would a resurgence of Republican leadership in America reunite us? Everyone agrees America is currently a divided nation. We are a divided nation while Democrats are in control of the White House, Senate, and Congress. So what if we were to toss out the liberals, bring in conservatives? Would that reunite this country? Do you believe, let's say, a resurgence of President Trump in 2024? If President Trump was to resume office in 2024, you think that might reunite us? You think that might bring more unity back to this country? That's what we're asking, is because there is no shortage of folks who are saying that President Biden is failing at his proposed purpose, which was to unify America. So could the Republicans do it? Would the Republicans be a better choice to unify America? Looking in the comments real quick here, when were we unified? Andre, that's a really good question. It's hard to say when we were ever unified, but we were certainly in a better stance than we are right now. With folks suggesting everything from anti-Semitism to acts of racism and hatred are on the rise, if it's on the rise, that means it was a time when it wasn't as bad. So if you want to ask when were we unified, yeah, perhaps never. But we were in a better position in terms of unity at some point than we are now. So that's what I'm asking. If Trump, DeSantis, the Republicans were to take over, resume power in 2024, would that lead us down a path toward unity as opposed to Biden? Who believes that Biden is a unifier? Does anyone believe that Biden, after 4 years of Trump, is working down a path of unity? Questions we're asking, because everyone is suggesting that Biden right now is not unifying the country. He's being divisive. He's having speeches where he's attacking MAGA, ultra MAGA, whatever you want to call it. So folks are saying that Biden is not the guy to get the job done. And I'm asking, if we were to get rid of Biden, go back to Trump or get DeSantis, would they be better at doing that job? Now, we're not talking about the economy. We're not talking about global affairs or anything that you may have thought Trump was better than Biden in. We're talking about unity. We're talking about bringing this country together. Would Trump or DeSantis be better at doing that than Biden? Okay, looking in the comments, for the most part, it seems to be as if a lot of you guys think no. And Andre, you said no president will do it. He insulted half the country, says Jammin Lou 21. Well, if you believe Biden insulted half the country, what about Trump? What about DeSantis? If you got Trump, let's say Trump took back over in 2024. You think he would be better? Do you think he might follow up Biden by insulting half the country? That's why I'm asking, would a Republican follow-up be any better? I understand folks believe Biden, with his criticisms of MAGA over and over again now, is insulting a large portion of this country. But what about shitholes? What about Chicago is a shithole? Baltimore is a shithole. Blue states are being misled. I mean, is it not true that maybe number 45 also insulted a lot of people? How do we get unity? Is either one of these men any less divisive than the other? The box is open, by the way. Trump would try, says Galloway Contracting. You're suggesting that if Trump was to be reinstated as president in 2024, he would try to pursue unity. My first question is going to be, what is your definition of trying?
How are you?
Okay, hang on. I'm hearing I don't know what the hell I'm hearing, but what would be your definition of trying? How would that be done?
Back on here.
120. I believe I have. Give me a second here. Something is running. Imps, good afternoon.
What's up, boss man?
Not much at all. I'm asking about unity. You think if the Republicans were to be put back in office in 2024, that we could be more along the path of unity as opposed to now?
If DeSantis was in there, my yes.
What if it's Trump?
Nah, he's too divisive.
You think Trump is divisive?
And I'm MAGA.
You know, Trump. Go ahead.
And I'm MAGA. And I'm MAGA.
So you don't believe Trump would? Because I got somebody in the comments that said Trump would at least try to pursue unity. You don't think he would even try?
I think he would try, but as far as actually getting it to happen, too many people hate him. Too many people see him as being divisive. I personally think that what he said about, there was somebody in your live last night that posted in the comment section that Trump was anti-Muslim. I think that's wrong because he only said that certain Muslim countries they wanted to stop flying in from just because they were on the terror watch list. Certain Muslim countries. It wasn't against all Muslims. It wasn't an anti-Muslim ban. It was just certain countries.
So you're saying he actually named the countries out that he wanted to, because I don't recall it that way. I seem to recall a total and complete ban on all Muslims. You're saying he didn't want to ban all Muslims.
Right. If you look at the countries he went back and named, it was like Pakistan, Afghanistan. I think even one of them was maybe India, which is primarily Muslim, but it's not considered a Muslim country. So It wasn't against all Muslims. That's totally false. People just put that stuff out there because they want you to think that Trump is racist. Trump's not racist. Trump dated a black girl a long time ago, if you all remember correctly.
Were you on my show last night?
Sure, I'm on your show every night, boss.
What do you think about, and I appreciate the support, much love for the support. What do you think about what I showed last night when him talking about blacks are killing whites wholesale? How did you view that? Did you see that?
I'm the person that said the bottom line, the fifth line you were concentrating on. It was the sixth line.
Yes.
That's me.
Okay.
That's me. No. Trump, he retweeted something he should have double checked on. That you're totally right on that. He should have rechecked every single line. Whatever you're putting out there, you're totally correct. He's got to take face for. You know what I mean? He didn't double check it. But that actual picture said, the last line is what they were trying to concentrate on.
Okay, I want you to hear this because you talked about the Muslim ban. I want you to hear something.
Donald J. Trump is calling for a total and complete shutdown of Muslims entering the United States until our country's representatives can figure out what the hell is going on.
He said a total and complete ban on all Muslims.
You have no choice.
Now, you notice in that clip, he's not naming countries, though. He's saying a complete Muslim ban.
Yeah, I don't remember hearing that one.
Okay. Well, that's where the claims that he doesn't like Muslims probably came from, because he didn't name any countries. He said a total, complete ban on all Muslims.
What was the first sentence he said?
Let me see if I can find it again.
Donald J. Trump is calling for a total and complete shutdown of Muslims entering the United States until
a total and complete shutdown of Muslims entering the country. Didn't say nothing about Kuwait. He didn't say nothing about Syria. He said a total and complete ban of Muslims.
Yeah, but for some reason that doesn't seem like him saying it. Why is he speaking in third person?
There he is. I mean, I can literally show you the words coming out of his mouth.
J. Trump is calling for a total and complete shutdown of Muslims entering the United States until our country's representatives can figure out what the hell is going on.
That's about as clear as you can get. Would you not agree?
Yeah, that's pretty bad. I'll admit that. I ain't blind, you know what I'm saying?
That's the second time. Yeah. That's the second time in 2 days I don't show you something that Trump did that you hadn't heard. Well, So now you understand where the Muslim criticism come from.
Yeah,
And yesterday you understood where the black criticism came from.
yeah.
It's a pleasure talking to you. So,
I admit when I'm wrong, man. You know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna lie about it. I ain't gonna skirt around it. I ain't gonna make any excuses, man.
well, I'll give you what S. Page in the comments is saying, and she's saying that that's Fox News' fault. And I will tell you this: if when the liberals do things that are wrong, if you only watch MSNBC or CNN, you won't hear about it. You'll hear far more like the Durham Report and things like that. You'll hear that on Fox. Same thing in regards to stuff like I'm playing. If you only watch right wing media, and I'm not talking about you specifically, but I'm saying it for folks who only watch right wing media, a lot of the stuff that I introduce, I get that response all the time. Like, I've never seen that or I've never heard that. And it's because, a station like Fox isn't going to play that all day long. Now, if Al Sharpton or Biden or Obama got up there and said something like that, it would be on loops. But when Trump says it, yeah, they're not going to play that other than to maybe try to spin it and say the criticism of it was not as bad.
Yeah, I don't watch the news.
Okay. And that could have something to do with it, because that did make news. That absolutely did make plenty of news when it was out. So if you don't watch the news, you probably
Yeah, I'm sure it did.
yeah. So once again, so you do agree though that a Republican administration could unite America, but not necessarily if it's headed by Trump.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, we don't disagree on much here. I'm one to say that it's possible that a Nikki Haley or someone like that might be to unite this country a little bit stronger than what we have right now. Who knows? We'll see. But I got to move it on, Amps.
Gotcha, buddy.
Good talk. Absolutely a pleasure.
Yeah, that hat behind it could also stand for DeSantis. It don't have to be for Trump. It ain't got Trump's name written on that hat.
I don't think you're going to be able to tailor the "Make America Great" slogan to a different candidate. I think MAGA is going to be permanently associated with Trump. And I will tell you this also: for Republican candidates, and I've said this numerous times on the program, I believe Ron DeSantis, with the amount of respect he has from Republicans, has a long career ahead of him. He's a young guy. He could easily run in 2028. He should not, if I was advising him, and I obviously never will be, but if I was advising him, I would tell him what I just said. You got a long career, you're a young guy, you could easily run in 2028. Steer clear of Trump. He is at the sunset of his career. He is toxic in certain environments. You're doing very well without him. Steer clear of this guy. So don't let the MAGA slogan rub off on you. Let him take that with him. Develop your own slogan, because Trump is not expanding his base right now. Do not get involved with that. That would be my take on that. But I got to move it on, Amps. Good talk.
Got you, boss. Talk to you later.
All right. You too. You too. Good conversation. Looking in the comments. Just because you like some of Trump's policies does not make you MAGA. That's a good point, Mike. I totally agree with that, because shit, even there was no liberals complaining about $2 gas and a good economy. Liberals were not complaining about his job number. So I agree with you on that. Liking Trump's policies does not make you MAGA. In my opinion, your humble correspondent, what makes you MAGA is the defense of Trump, good or bad, such as a ride or die person. You ever heard of the phrase ride or die? I'm with you no matter what. To me, that is what makes you MAGA. Liz Cheney agreed with Trump's policies most of the time, as you're suggesting. Liz Cheney would not be viewed as MAGA. She is not ride or die. But there are plenty of folks that are, such as Ted Cruz, McCarthy or whatever, whereas he can even insult them and they still are down with him. So, yeah, I agree. Just simply following Trump's policies, good economy and things like that, does not necessarily make you MAGA. As a right-wing constituent, you just may want a good economy, which everyone should. Going back to the box, Big Ivy, welcome to the program. He's a friend of the program. What's going on, Big Ivy? Good afternoon.
Hey, how's it going?
Now, it's going decent. I'm sitting in the rain, but I'm making it happen. What's on your mind this afternoon? Talking about unity.
Yeah, unity. I don't believe if any Republican gets in office that mainstream people will be at peace with it. I mean, like The
Well,
View and all the other shows, they're calling suburban women that vote for Republicans cockroaches and
I
shit
saw
like
that
that.
yesterday. Yeah, I saw that. That was Sonny Halston said women, suburban white women voting for Trump is like roaches voting for Raid.
Yeah,
Yeah, that was a strong comment. You know, listen, no matter who gets in office, the other side's going to dislike him. However, I think you could easily cut down the rhetoric from the non-political. Sonny Halston, The View, The Five, Outnumbered. These programs, the whole purpose of the program is to be political and divisive. But I'm talking about the non-political in this country. Like when Obama was in office, people who were not in politics were not loving or hating the guy. It went back to being boring again. Just like with George W. Bush, there was a lot of people who were not in politics and they didn't get into politics. Trump, because he was divisive, has brought people into politics that normally would not even be voting. So I'm talking about at least getting back to the era where politics is boring again. Can we do that in the future?
only if you put in a Democrat that like 60 or 70% of the people like, but you ain't gonna get a Republican in there and have everything smooth.
I would say if you had to put somebody, now he's obviously dead now, but Colin Powell, I think he could have been put in there with 60 or 70% of the people liking. I think it's possible to find a Republican that would. I don't think Condoleezza Rice at this point. I mean, obviously she's tied to the Bush administration and the Iraq War, but that's from a previous generation. If you got Condoleezza Rice touring the countries, running a campaign, and not calling people nicknames, not dragging Trump on stage, I think she could possibly get that type of numbers.
I don't know. She's like going along with the Bushes saying, like Colin Powell said, they had yellow cake, shit to make bombs and stuff like that over in Iraq, and
Yeah,
it
but it's a
wasn't no.
generation ago. I agree that the Iraq War was horribly divisive, but that has been a generation ago. So there is some time. And real quick in the comments, folks, I'm not talking about Candace Owens. I said Condoleezza Rice. So do not confuse those two.
Uh,
I didn't say Candace. So you don't think Condoleezza Rice could get those numbers?
I don't know. I really ain't. I don't know who could run. Barack. I think he's thinking about
We're
running.
talking about a conservative, though. We're talking about a conservative.
Yeah, maybe Rice because she's not honest. I don't believe she's honest enough.
You don't think Condoleezza Rice is honest?
I really ain't studied too much on her, but I wouldn't trust her.
Yeah, fair enough. Which makes me want to ask. Now, you lean to the right or you lean left?
More to the right.
You lean more to.
But
Why do you believe more of the country would be willing to support a left wing candidate versus someone from the area you lean? Why don't you think a right wing candidate could get 60% support?
because all the news stations and sports people, everybody just loves Democrats, or they're getting paid to love them, or something like that.
So, okay, fair point. So, why do you believe everybody loves Democrats? I mean, what's making people love Democrats and not show the same love for the right?
Because the left can shut you down.
Because who?
The left can shut you down. You can't talk about certain subjects on your program right now because of what the left is telling you not to talk about.
Yeah, yeah. And you know my motto is I don't ban, block, or censor anyone. But yeah, you're right. The app, I can't control what TikTok does, and they don't like the LGBT conversations, and they don't like COVID conversations. I wish we could discuss any damn thing we wanted to, but you are correct about that. However,
Yeah, you
I'm
can't talk
trying.
about the election. You can't talk about
So
the
what?
election or COVID, the election, COVID. The initials
Well,
AJ.
Yeah, AJ is really bad. For folks who are wondering what AJ is, it's the guy who made the Sandy Hook lie in order to pay $1 billion in restitution to the family. Yeah, you can't talk about AJ at all. I
Uh,
got banned talking about AJ. So yeah, AJ, you can't even type AJ's name as the title of a live. I tried to type his name. And there are real people out there named Alex with the same last name as this guy. So anybody with his name, which is a very common name, I would think, you can't even type your name on social media. He's literally like, it's like retiring a basketball number. You can't wear this jersey anymore because this guy scored so many points for the other side. I don't know. But you don't think the right bans people as well?
That don't seem like they have that sort of power.
What happened to Colin Kaepernick?
He wasn't that good of a football player.
His career was not over. You think Colin Kaepernick would have been done playing football as soon as he was if he hadn't have took a knee?
He knew he was going away, so he had to bring in something.
I would tell you that guy, although you're right, he was no longer at the peak of his game. He had some more time playing, which is why teams continued looking at him even a few years after he left. He was kicked out of the game early. I mean, I'll tell you that he was kicked out of the game early for taking a knee.
Yeah. Anyways, don't you think the left can kick you off, deplatform you?
Yeah,
more than the right thing.
If I say something that is not popular I could get deplatformed. I don't disagree with that, but do I believe the right will allow me to say anything I want? No. I think that they would do the same thing if I'm speaking in a manner that they don't like on a platform that they control.
Well,
yeah, I just believe that, and I'll tell you the reason I say that is because I talk in my program all the time about me being invited out to Fox News, and I've met the late Alan Combs and John Sullivan and John Gibson and Tom Sullivan. I went out to the Fox News studios because I used to call in all the time and debate with Bill O'Reilly and things like that. On my night show, I've shown pictures of me out there, and on Fox when I would call in. You have to first get through the screener when you dial the 800 number to talk to whoever the host is, if it's Brian Kilmeade or whoever's hosting the program. You have to talk to the screener first and let them kind of know what you intend to say. And I've been put on air, and I stated points in favor of liberals and Democrats that were strong enough that they censored me. I've been kicked off of the program. I've been told, do not mention that topic when you call back. And the Rush Limbaugh show, man, when Excellence in Broadcasting was on the air, they wouldn't put me on. They would not fuck with me. So it does happen on the right as well. Because I used to try to call in the Rush all the time, and they wouldn't put me on. I got on there one time. I out-debated a couple of the callers, and that was it. I was gone. I could not get back past the screener ever again. Fortunately, Fox was pretty open, and they let me in, and they to the point now where John Gibson, who's syndicated but not on Fox anymore, they know me. Like I said, they invited me out and met me. But yeah, the Rush Limbaugh show was not open to adverse opinions very much at all. So it happens on the right as well, Ivy.
Yeah. But not nearly as much. But I agree with you. It happens, but not.
Probably because most of the banning that folks do on the right, the left doesn't make a big spectacle out of it. I mean, but the right makes huge spectacle because the banning of CRT, banning of LGBT issues, that's the same thing as cancel culture. If you go down there and you start talking about LGBT issues or saying I identify as a different sex, there are plenty of places the right will cancel you for talking about that shit. Same thing with CRT, same thing with criticizing police. There are plenty of areas where the right will shut you up quick when you start doing that.
I agree.
All right, Ivy, I got to move it on. Fair enough. You know how we do it. Come on back through anytime.
All right, love your show.
Absolutely. Thank you. compliment there. Where do they get canceled, says Stevie D. They're actually taking books off the shelves down in Florida. So there you go right there. Whole authors having their entire material canceled. They're taking books off the shelves because they don't believe their children should be taught that stuff. That is right-wing cancel culture. I mean, there are plenty of examples. Just listen to what the right is complaining about. When you speak in the wrong direction of that, the attempt is to cancel you. I mean, like I just told the previous caller, don't ever believe the right cannot cancel you. Now, he has a point that, well, maybe the left does it more. Perhaps. But I'm just simply saying that being a right-winger doesn't mean you don't cancel people, because it certainly happens. You're allowed to parent your own child, says Rufus Lover 99. Yeah, you are allowed to parent your own child. But you can't go to the school and tell them you cannot teach anyone in this classroom about what's in this book. That's not you parenting your child. That's you trying to bestow your wishes on the whole community. When you show up to the city council meeting and you're saying this book should be removed from class, you're now preventing all the children from reading that book. That's the difference. Looking in the comments, they also tried to cancel heavy metal and rap. And that's, George H.W. Bush is the whole purpose behind, you've seen the black and white sticker, what does it say, censored lyrics, or parental advisory, I believe the sticker says. That was the right trying to use cancel culture before it was called cancel culture on the rap community. That's right-wing politics right there. George H.W. Bush in the early 90s trying to cancel rap music. NWA, 2 Live Crew, they can all tell you about that. That was all under right-wing administrations. That's cancel culture. They want to cancel Harriet Tubman. How can you cancel somebody? I don't get that one. You talking about the $20 bill? How do you cancel somebody that's been dead for hundreds of years? I don't get that. Jammin' 21, I saw you. Welcome to the program, Jammin'. Good afternoon.
What's up, brother? Hey, man.
Not much at all. What's on your mind?
I saw something that you had said earlier, that we weren't as divided under Obama as we are under Trump.
I don't think many people were as interested in politics as they are under Trump.
Well, the thing is that you then played the video about Trump, right? Banning Muslims from entering our country, right?
Yeah, and that was for the caller at the time who stated that he called for specific countries to be banned and it wasn't for an entire ban. So I just played that for clarity.
Yeah. Well, thank you for doing that, because I have a question. Trump actually said that after the election, right?
That was during the campaign, if I'm correct. He hadn't even became president yet.
That's why I was asking in the comment section, what's the time and date with the rest of that video of the speech so that we can go see it? Because I've been watching you for a while, and sometimes, you got an agenda and it's all good. It is what it is. But with that being said, that was actually played after the election when he won and he was president at the time. But he won. Okay. Now, with that being said, do you carry the same energy in regards to Biden, all the things he said prior to the election, all the racist stuff he had said prior to the election, and yet people still voted for him? So when you call people like a cult member or a MAGA cult, like how do you hold somebody accountable for somebody that you elected that said something after he won the election, but yet you don't carry the same energy for the people who sat here, literally voted for a man prior to the election of all the racist shit he said? Like, you still supported that man.
Yeah, it's a fair point. I don't know how long you've been watching the program, but I've said numerous times that had Biden not been running against Trump, I believe the racially suspect things he's had in his past, such as the crime bill of the 90s and some of his statements, probably would have disqualified him. I tell you right off the bat, there is no major love for Biden in the African-American community. Only claim to fame Biden has is that he was running against Trump, is that people believe he was actually a softer spot then the hard spot they had to choose, choice between a rock and a hard place, is that Biden was slightly softer than Trump. But if you want to point out Biden's racial past, I'm on board with you. I agree with you. But we supported him for the exact same reasons that a lot of folks on the right might support Herschel Walker. He's a POS, but he's better than the other guy. That's why we voted for President Biden. We believed he was better than the other guy.
Let's like call a spade here. People voted for Biden out of hatred and spite for one man.
Yeah,
that's why they voted for Biden. That's just real talk. But yet, at the end of the day, when I ask this question, when you have energy toward Trump, who was never a politician, even if he donated the way he donated or what have you,
right?
Why do you carry the energy for a guy that never was in politics, never made policy, but yet you voted for the guy out of pure hatred and spite for Trump? You voted for the guy who has power legislatively and has completely forgot about your community, has completely put your community down, has made racist comments. That's my point. Like, at the end of the day, when are we going to wake up? Period.
I don't think you're going to get what you want. I understand what you're saying, but I cannot stress this any stronger. The people on the minority side of the aisle believe Trump is worse. I get the things you're pointing out about Biden. I'm not even disagreeing with you on them. I'm simply saying perception is reality for voters, and they believe that Trump is worse in the category you're bringing up about Biden. They believe Trump is more intolerant.
No, I got you. So with that mindset, how do you explain so many brothers and sisters leaving the Democrat Party, not supporting Joe Biden or voting for Democrats in the future, the same way the Latino community and the Latino voting bloc is leaving the Democrat Party? They're leaving them in droves. You have AOC have her town hall get ousted by her own constituents who are sick of her.
Like, well, the explanation, in my opinion, in regards to that, the explanation, just like with the walkaway movement of 2016 or 2018 or whatever, I believe that a lot of that is trumped up, because I was told before the 2020 election how many African Americans were getting sick and tired of the Democrats and were going to walk away and vote for Trump. But when you seen the actual numbers at the end, it didn't materialize. And I will tell you that right now is that in terms of African Americans, even the ones that are unhappy with the Biden economy, as long as they keep believing that Trump is the alternative, they're not going to walk away from the Democratic Party, which is why I keep promoting DeSantis or Nikki Haley or somebody. But as long as they fear that Trump is out there, you're going to have the same thing happen again. With Biden's poll numbers in the tank, with the support of Biden in the tank, it's not very strong right now. The saving grace, even to this day, for President Biden is that you guys keep making it look like you're going to send Trump back. Trump is hurting the party. I'm just being honest with you. A good economy or not, Trump is hurting the party. That answers all of your questions. Why do you guys keep supporting this guy? It's because they see Trump on the horizon.
But see, you guys talk about Trump more than Trump supporters or Trump voters. They voted for Trump on policy. There's a difference. Going back to what you just said, you guys voted out of pure hatred and spite for Trump. Trump supporters voted for Trump because of policy. Okay. With that being said, there's a reason why the approval numbers in the African American community and in the Latino community have switched drastically. It used to be in the low 90 percentile with supporting a Democrat president from our brothers and sisters community. It's hovering in the low 40s right now. That's real talk. They don't care. They don't care about Trump. Brothers and sisters that don't like Trump still don't like Trump. But you know what they do like is their money and their hatred towards one man. They're like, man, I don't care about that. My hate towards that guy. I care about my stacks. I care about my money. And that's what people in the Democrat Party are not thinking about, right? Because they're pushing Roe versus Wade. They're not talking about inflation. They're not talking about crime. They're not talking about how we're doing it.
You're making it sound like all voters should be one issue voters. Let me ask you this. You think a woman in her 20s or 30s, knowing that she faces the potential of being thrown in jail for murder if she makes a pro-choice decision, was going to be willing to take that for $2 gas? You think she'll put $2 gas?
You say over, this. You say this, and you manipulate your followers.
Let me just tell you is that you mentioned inflation in the economy, and I agree with you. The old phrase "it's the economy, stupid" makes a lot of sense. I'm just trying to give you the point that everybody is not voting for that issue. Like I mentioned, the women knowing that you could go to jail for murder for a pro-choice decision is not going to be something you're going to skip over in pursuit of $2 gas. The $2 gas is going to take a back seat to that.
Yeah. It's going to take a back seat to something that's manufactured by left wing and media, because at no point in time is anybody's rights being taken away. And at the same time, you're manipulating your following by thinking that federal legislation or anything passed at the federal level is going to be a blanket statement for every state, when that's not how this works, and you know it, and that's where you're misleading your following, because you have more power at the state level to fix things and fight and advocate for your people or those women's rights at the state level than you do at the federal level. And you know this, liberal, because we've talked about this once before. And you agreed with me like you agreed with me 2 months ago, because going back to Kansas, right? Going back to Kansas, y'all said that Kansas was a red state and it was going to turn around and take away abortion rights. And I called you out on it back then. And I told you they just voted on it to keep it. Oh, I didn't know. I didn't know about that.
No, well, and by the way, Spin Kate, well, I appreciate the generosity. Thanks for that flower there. Let me say it this way. A lot has happened in 2 months. You're talking about I agree with you 2 months ago. I don't remember, but if you're correct, let's just say that. In 2 months, you've had Mike Pence, Mitch McConnell, Lindsey Graham, and I believe there's one other politician that I cannot think of right now that have all publicly stated that a federal abortion ban is possible. Mike Pence actually stated that that is the goal for him. So when you guys keep saying that it's a return to, we're not trying to ban abortion, it's just giving the rights back to the states. We're listening to all the elite members of your party saying the quiet part out loud and actually admitting that they want a federal abortion ban. But right now, just to get the states' rights thing, we'll just tell him his states' rights, and once we get that, then we'll go to the next step. Very similar to your argument about taking away Second Amendment rights. If you give them an inch, they'll take a mile. That applies to abortion. If you give them an inch, they're the goal, period. If you believe in the sanctity of life. Hold on, let me say this, and I'll let you respond. I'll say this. If you are a true God-fearing person that believes in protecting the sanctity of life, you're not going to be okay with a mother crossing the river into another state and killing that baby. You're going to try to interfere with the politics on that side of the border. That's what anyone would do. If you believe they're killing kids and the kids should be saved, the fact that she's 30 miles down the road having an abortion is not going to sit well with you. Go ahead.
Do you even know where I stand on the issue?
I'm talking about Republicans versus Democrats, not you personally.
Okay, so I'm not Republican, but I'm conservative by nature. I'm independent. But a lot of people on the Republican and conservative side think like me. Okay? Like and same way as some liberals. Okay? Because I used to be a Democrat for 3 decades. And it's important to keep that noted, all right? Because I get attacked for the way I think, but y'all don't even know where I stand on the issue. And then you lump me in with a bunch of other Republicans when the talking points at the end of the day are ridiculous. They're ridiculous because all we want is not a federal issue, because one blanket statement doesn't work. California's proving that. New York and Chicago are proving that with their gas prices just alone. Why are they more expensive in those states, but they're cheaper in red states? Because of the taxation and the money driven behind it. Okay. And once our people can see through that, all of our people of all backgrounds, if we can see the money that is behind it, we will see Kansas just disprove what you just basically said about Republicans, because Kansas kept abortion laws. Kansas fought for them, and they fought for them because everybody knows that you need an option for it.
That's not going to work in every state. Let me just say it this way.
Right now, why do it federally? Then why do it federally? You're proving my point, liberal.
What do you mean? I don't get what you're saying. What do you mean? Why do it federally?
You said it's not going to, things don't work in every state. That's my point. That's why it was kicked back to individual states, Because what works in Illinois may not work in New York or Pennsylvania. It may not work in Texas like it would in California. That's why it gets back to the state. Run for legislation at your local level and change it there. Advocate for them there. Because a blanket federal deal won't work for abortion. It just won't, because people are different in all states, man.
Well, I agree with you 100%, which is why I often compare the abortion issue with the Second Amendment. Just like you said, abortion doesn't work in every state. There are plenty of states out there on the left that want to ban guns. You guys, that doesn't sit well with you, and banning abortion in certain states does not sit well with liberals. Illinois, for instance, is not a big fan of the Second Amendment. Now, I understand the Second Amendment is constitutionally protected versus abortion. We get that. But there are states like California that would rather limit the Second Amendment. I don't hear people in Texas saying, well, that's the right of the people in California. If they don't want people to have guns, that's their right. No, they're trying to interfere with it. So we're doing the same thing in regards to abortion.
But see, the abortion only applies to women. Okay, you're automatically taking something and only applying it to one gender or one group of people. The Second Amendment applies to everyone, men, women. It applies to everyone of all backgrounds minus law-breaking citizens. And this is the deal. You're using an analogy and you're trying to compare the two when they're nowhere near the same, fam.
Okay, I disagree. And I'll tell you why. You're saying
can men get abortions?
Yeah, it's raining.
Men get abortions?
Okay, yeah. You said abortions only apply to women. Here's why I disagree. And I got a lot of rain coming, so I can barely hear you over the damn rain in here. But you're saying the Second Amendment only applies to women. The point is 70% of Americans support a woman's right to choose in some way or another. So even though the man cannot have an abortion, when you ban abortion, you are going against the wishes of a hell of a lot of male constituents. So it does apply to them. You're going against there are a lot of people who don't own a gun that favor the Second Amendment. So if you ban the Second Amendment, you're going against them, even though it doesn't even affect them. So it does affect men and women.
But men don't make that ultimate decision, right? It's just women. Women make the ultimate decisions. Like I said, I'm neither here nor there. Okay, I'm neither here nor there on the topic because I don't give out my personal belief on it. I'm just talking about in general. Only women can get abortions. That's it. A man can't go get an abortion, but a man can have a little bit of say in what he feels about it. But at the end of the day, it only applies to one individual, the person that is pregnant. Okay, a person that's pregnant and a person that's not pregnant or that can't get pregnant does have the right to a Second Amendment.
You got people who might be facing death, unconscious, and things like that, and they're starting to pass laws where you can't get an abortion, even if your life is at stake, where that might be a decision that the husband had to make. Woman's in a car accident or something, and they need to abort the baby to save her, and they got some kind of full abortion ban. It's down to the husband to make the decision.
So who has a full abortion ban? Who has a full abortion ban? Can you explain that? Missouri has Missouri banned abortion completely.
Yeah, that's not the only state. In fact, Herschel Walker is pursuing that for Georgia. There's plenty of states that have full abortion bans or trying to make it happen. Louisiana, wasn't Ohio? Didn't a 10-year-old get assaulted and impregnated in Ohio and have to drive over to Indiana? There was a woman in Louisiana that was impregnated with a baby that was missing its entire skull, and it was literally going to become toxic inside of her. And she had to leave that state because they had a full abortion ban. This stuff is happening, man.
So who's the governor of Ohio?
Say that again.
Who's the governor of Ohio?
I really apologize. I'm actually getting hell. Let me say it one more time.
I said, who's the governor of Ohio?
Oh, I don't know who's the governor of Ohio. I don't live in Ohio.
DeWine.
Okay.
A Democrat. He has the power to call in a special legislation to change that law.
All right.
So that's where we need to start that. Okay?
All right. I'm just giving you, God damn, I'm getting so much hell.
Hey, you take it easy, brother. You be safe, all right? You be safe. You're more than welcome on my live anytime. I don't want you to, all right?
really good talk. I'm sorry I couldn't hear you more. I'm getting like a bunch of hail hitting the windshield, but really good talk. Anytime, come on back, man.
You be safe, bro.
Hey, you too. Thanks. Thank you. Okay. Comments. Hopefully the hell breaks up here. It's a nationwide issue, and Cap says SD Shadow Walker. It is. And me and my previous caller, and I enjoyed the conversation with him. Looks like the hell is let up. I enjoyed the conversation with him, but I do believe the abortion issue is bigger than he is suggesting. And that's why also I believe more folks are voting against the Republicans, whereas he's talking about the economy and things that people should be focused on. I think the Supreme Court threw a monkey wrench in the works by banning Roe versus Wade or rolling back Roe versus Wade right before the midterms, because it is a serious issue to women. And as he's saying, well, it doesn't affect men. The idea that no woman has had an abortion based on the wishes of a man, I think there are plenty of men that have made that decision. Women, husbands, wives, a wife that did not want to piss off her husband or risk her marriage may have aborted a child she didn't want to abort. I just think that is really threw a monkey wrench in the Republicans' plan by having them roll back Roe versus Wade. It did not help them out at all. And that's not coming from just me. President Trump said that rolling back Roe versus Wade is not going to be a good thing for the midterms. Looking in the comments, hopefully you guys can hear me, because it is really fucking raining where I'm at. DeWine is a Republican. So you're saying that because he said that DeWine, and by the way, I'm ignorant on the governor of Ohio. I didn't know who the governor of Ohio was, but I see in the comments, looks like Mirage924 is saying that the governor of Ohio is actually a Republican. And that makes sense if they're going to have a complete, full abortion ban, that it's probably going to happen under a Republican administration. I can't see that happening under a liberal administration. It is what it is. What about a woman having an abortion and the daddy is against it? Wow, that's a great question, Repeat 69. First of all, if a woman is pregnant in the early stages, which is when most people are in favor of having an abortion, first trimester, 1 to 3 months or something like that. Shit, if the guy says that he's against her having an abortion, are we even at the stage where we can actually prove it's his child? Because to prove paternity, you need a DNA test. Now, if the mom admits it, that's a different argument. But, if she's, a couple weeks, couple months pregnant, and she wants to have her pregnancy terminated, and the guy is saying that's my child, how do you prove it? Do you force her to carry the child further along so you can do a DNA test while the child is still in the womb? It's such a rabbit hole. I don't know how we give fairness to fathers under that circumstance. And I do agree that aborting a child that the man wants to have brought to life is incredibly unfair to the father. But I don't know how you can solve that, because the way life is created is not fair from the beginning. I mean, a woman sustains all of the physical burden. So I don't know how you can make something fair that was created by unfairness. I mean, the woman literally carries all of the physical burden, all 9 months, all of the pains associated with it, all of the bodily changes, stretch marks, all of that. She sustains all of that. The dude makes a nice, beautiful sound. A little bit of liquid comes out, and he's done. He is free to go do it again. And damn, is it enjoyable. But he is done. So the issue is, how can you make something fair that was created on unfairness? That's something you just have to take up with the deity. I don't know how how mankind could ever make that fair. You have to take it up with your God. But I get your point. It is unfair to men. Thank you for supporting us, says Kiki. Appreciate it. Not a problem. I'm just giving you the way I feel about it. Men want this to be law. If women can terminate, then men don't have to pay child support. I'm up in the air about that, Mama G. I do believe that if a guy says he is not ready to be a parent, just like if a woman says she's not ready to be a parent, it actually means something. She can have an abortion. Not only can she terminate the pregnancy, but we even give women the ability to use a safe haven. So she can carry the baby full term and still take the baby to a firehouse, a church, police station, or just, she can literally look a doctor in the eye and say, cut the cord and keep it. And there's no one pursuing her for child support. So, I do have to say that at that point, we could make things a little bit more fair. They always tell a guy, if you're not ready to make a baby, keep it in your pants. If you're man enough to make a baby, you better be man enough to take care of one. Well, once she has a live child that's walking around, there's no way a guy can escape paying child support. How she can walk and hand a baby over to a safe haven and not have to pay any support, there's no way of arguing that that's not unfair. The guy can't do that. I mean, whereas the woman can literally take the baby to a safe haven and hand it to total strangers and be totally free of any type of responsibility. Whereas the guy can leave the baby with his biological mother and not have the same outcome. There's no way to pretend like that's not unfair. Women already provide most of the parenting in American households. That is true, but that is also changing as women have gotten more and more into corporate America. They don't have the time any more than the guy does at this point. So that's starting to change. He can choose to take the baby and support it. That depends. That really depends. I mean, there are women who there are states you can put babies up for adoption and with almost no legal requirement to even notify the father. Fact is, if you, as a female, are impregnated by a child that you do not want the dad to know exists, I would say the law is on your side in a lot of ways. You hand a baby over at a fire station, safe haven or whatever. They're not going to go out of their way to look for that father. You could literally have a child and keep it from the father, and it's not a crime or anything like that. So I can't argue that there's plenty of unfairness in parenting. And I'm not talking about the abortion versus not. I'm talking about even when the child is born, the unfairness continues. Supreme Court trying to divide us more. Well, a 6-3 majority on the Supreme Court, there's no way that's going to be fair at all. It's not going to be fair. Zay Williams, good afternoon. Welcome to the program. If it lets me bring you on here. Some reason it did not do that. Let's try it again. I don't know why Zay. Let me try unapologetic. So for some reason, something is off with the box. As I'm trying to bring people on, it's not seeming to be working. By the way, folks, tap the screen. Get your boy up to a modest 15,000 likes would be nice. Plenty of liberals and patriots in here. I actually lost my cap. We started getting a lot of hell here. Really made things hard to hear for a while. I got about another half hour I can roll with you. Somebody asked about the lunch break. That was Hammer 2-1. Okay. The box is okay. Cool.
Hey, how you doing?
Good afternoon.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, loud and clear.
Hey, you made a point. Like, I don't see where Trump had policies. It's just like he just undid things that got us in trouble in 2008. Deregulated the economy, and that made gas prices fall. I don't see many places where he did have like policies that help people.
Well, his policy, thank you for that hat there. I didn't see who gave me that, but I appreciate that. Cornstar. Thank you, G-Ma. In regards to Trump's policies, remain in Mexico was a policy that people, at least on the right, really enjoyed, really liked it.
What do you mean that where we didn't accept any immigrants?
Yeah, his policy of protecting the border, building a wall, the folks on the right thought that was an excellent policy.
But at the point, is that a policy if you accept no Mexicans, but you're taking an influx of Europeans in? So the policy to bring white Americans.
I didn't say it was I didn't say it was an equal policy. I mean, America's never been that way. I mean, I agree that when he said people from shithole countries and can't we get somebody from Norway? Hey, I agree it sounds unfair, but I'm just simply saying people that support Trump liked that policy.
You know, and this is the thing about gas that I was in the military. I paid, and I had a car in Japan. I paid $6 a liter in 1998 for gas.
Yeah.
It seems like
$6?
America's a liter.
Damn. When I left Australia, I left Australia back in 2010. I think the highest I've seen it was $1.61 a liter, and I think there's like 3 point something liters to a gallon. So $6 a liter is awful. I never heard of it that high.
But think about this. America, we're the only country that I could think of, industrialized country, who builds cars that works with the gas companies. Germany, Japan, China, all these other countries work against gas companies when it comes to MPGs, miles per gallon. They're building cars with more miles per gallon. We're still building these big dinky donkey cars, and then we're fighting about the gas price. They're like, we would just go to GM, we would go to Ford, we would go to these American manufacturers and say, hey, I want the same motor that the German cars have. You know, I owned a Jetta that got 61 miles per gallon, diesel.
Okay.
You know, so why would we fight? You know, why are we fighting this gas price? Well, it's going to go up. You know, instead of fighting that at a place that we can get a difference with these manufacturers and say, hey, build us a better car. We're getting more MPGs.
You got to understand, to me, the explanation would be you have to understand, out of all of the countries, America is far more towards capitalism than most countries. And capitalism is all about the bottom line. A lot of the things we do in this country that folks may consider as counterproductive in regards to the people is done to make somebody money. A lot of the stuff we do here that's wrong or we think is morally corrupt is because somebody's making money off of it, including selling cars with bad engines or engines that are not as efficient like you're talking about. No different than saying there is more money in treating cancer than curing it. It's because people are making money off of it.
You know, I'm from Florida, and you made a point about the CRT and DeSantis. You know, it's almost as if we're rolling back history on our kids. We don't want to teach our kids the truth. We'd rather keep them in the dark for the sake of making one group look bad. But you'd rather make the other group ignorant of itself, or you'd rather make the whole ignorant, not one group, the whole ignorant.
I gotta say, even though I always enjoy talking to the right, I like hearing folks on the other side. It does appear as if that certain things we've become accustomed to, certain rights and freedoms, it does seem like they have a bullseye on some stuff and it's slowly rolling back things. Because I can tell you 2-3 years ago when there were Democrats talking about with the Supreme Court justices, you guys are going to roll back Roe versus Wade, we were accused of fear mongering. Now that they've done that, we're complaining that you're going to roll back LGBT rights. They're accusing us of fear mongering again. We're complaining they're going to roll back affirmative action. They're going to roll back voter rights. And they keep saying we're fear mongering. But make no mistake about it, these Supreme Court justices are openly discussing this shit. So it's not fear mongering when they're talking about it out loud.
And it's a perspective that only liberals and Black Americans can understand, because liberals and Black Americans live through Black codes. They live through state rights. Latinos didn't have to go through state rights. They didn't have to go through Black codes. They came after everything. After the dust settled, we got an influx of Latinos. We got an influx of Asian Americans. But Blacks and liberals had to live through the fact of red lines and giving it back to the states to establish voting rights and stuff like that. You don't want to go down the trail. We don't want the federal government to take care of everything, but the things that we already got established that should be taken care of by the federal government, we want those things to be taken care of at that level. It's shown that the states want to do that.
Yeah, and I wanted to tell my other caller that when we were talking throughout the rainstorm, he was talking about states' rights and it's not a federal thing. There's a reason why people don't feel comfortable with the phrase states' rights, and it's because generally, when you hear the states saying they want to have rights over the federal government, it's the right to take away somebody's freedom. You don't normally
Exactly.
hear the states. Yes, the states are normally not, the states are generally not doing things to promote freedoms. It's usually saying, we believe that this or that freedom you're enjoying is wrong, and we want to prevent, ban, or take that one away. So folks who have had their freedoms historically oppressed or limited are totally fearful of the phrase states' rights. We just have no tolerance for it because the history of it is atrocious. So, and I don't know, they don't seem to understand that, but that's why states' rights does not play very well with minorities and a lot of liberals.
Yeah, and I think, for I don't want to speak for all Black Americans, but I think a great number of African Americans would entertain being conservative like myself if I didn't know that the Republican Party at the time was appeasing to Confederates, old Dixiecrats, people who wanted less for America as far as the democracy wise, not the policy wise, the democracy.
Right.
But they're appeasing to people who don't care about the democracy. And the democracy is improving. Why would why would we want to go backwards with people who, okay, they may give us $2 gas today, but tomorrow we may not be able to pee in the same bathroom.
Damn. Let's hope it don't go back that far. But
things can unravel itself to a point where you're a second class citizen. It could unravel itself to where you have to pay. You have to own $200 or $250,000 worth of land to vote. We could do all those things again. They could do a whole lot.
You're scaring me, Coach. Coach, I got to move it on, though. I hope you're right. They could do it. I hope they don't, but I got to move it on, man.
All right, take care.
Good talk. Come on back anytime. Looking at it's never going back, says Shirlene Hutchinson. Like I said, if you had said they're going to roll back Roe versus Wade, which has already been adjudicated 50 years ago, folks would have said exactly what you're saying now, is that it's never going back. And you see what has happened. Same-sex marriage, I will submit to you. By the way, folks, tap the screen. Don't let your thumbs be lazy. Get your boy up to 20,000 likes. I still got a few minutes to roll with you guys. I'll go right back to the box. Tap the screen. Plenty of patriots in here and liberals alike. So tap the screen, get your boy up to 20,000 likes. But in regards to the rolling back Roe versus Wade, yeah, I'll tell you that we were accused of fear-mongering a long time ago when we said that. And so now, yeah, the LGBT folks, and here's the point I was trying to make before I go back to the box, is that I would submit to you that there are far more people that are against the LGBT pronouns and gender changes and things like that than there are in terms of a woman's right to choose. 70% of Americans support a woman having the right to choose in some way or another. When it comes to the transgender community, I don't think it's nowhere near 70% support. Why am I bringing this up? Because if they could roll back Roe versus Wade with 70% of Americans supporting it, I think they could easily roll back LGBT rights with far less resistance because there are far less Americans that support it. If they roll back same-sex marriage, they're not going to get the same outcry they're getting from rolling back Roe versus Wade. If they roll back, the transgender, the way transgender is viewed in this country, they're not going to get anywhere near the same pushback they're getting from rolling back Roe versus Wade. Hell, I grew up in the African American community. I can tell you right off the bat, I know a lot of African Americans that are homophobes. It's far more resistance to the LGBT community than women having a right to choose. So if they were able to roll back Roe versus Wade, I think it would be easier to roll back LGBT rights. Maybe I'm wrong. Looking in the comments, unapologetic black man. Welcome. Always good to talk to unapologetic black men. What's going on this afternoon?
Jerry.
I had a couple MAGA on at first. I mean, looks like most of the box now is liberals, but yeah, I had a couple really good MAGA on earlier. But it is what it is. I always enjoy talking to folks. Don't ban, block, or censor no matter what side of the aisle you're on. So what's on your mind this afternoon?
I've been scrolling through TikTok and noticing that now I understand what Biden meant by MAGA is dangerous. The how easily they get on here and deflect. I mean, that's why I like watching your show, because I love the awkward silences when you ask a simple question about their party. I love when the awkward silences. And I love the
Well,
fact that only like 5% of your questions actually get answered. It turns into a deflection about how we hate the libs. And same thing when you talk to liberals. Liberals,
yeah.
they do the same thing. So I'm not trying to spread butter on one side of the bread. Let's evenly do this. But at least when you talk to, I hear when you talk to a lot of liberals and independents and moderates, you have more facts and evidence placed forward, more solutions put forward, instead of people coming on here and making up stories that they heard from Fox or repeat, which again, I'm big on education. I'm big on reading. I'm big on watching both sides of the news. So when I watch a lot of people on the right in these lives speak about Trump, speak about Black communities, Latino communities, Republicans,
Right.
you hear the biases coming out of their voices. And I mean, we just need to be more honest with each other so we can have civil discourse, because I know that's a big point on your platform, civil
Yes.
discourse. But it
Yes.
just seems like you have to interrogate them to get anything out of the right. But I respect
There's
you for
some
that.
resistance, but let me ask you this quick, because this is what the whole piece is about. Do you? Because right now, folks are saying that Biden is quite divisive. You see the speeches he's
Yeah.
giving where he's attacking MAGA. Do you believe a Republican administration, let's say Trump got reelected in 2024 or DeSantis, do you believe a Republican administration could bring America closer to unity right now, as opposed to say Biden?
With the laws that they have on the table in Congress right now, no. 98% of their laws and policies that they're trying to pass are regression laws. It's no progression in their party, no policy actually helping the blue collar middle class workers, even though the middle class is not what people think the middle class is, but that's another conversation. But they're not
Yeah.
looking out for us. I mean, let's be real. The Republican Party hasn't looked out for anybody that makes less than 75,000 a year. And like, they never cared about Walmart workers, Jim Bob with the deer truck in your farm. They never cared about you guys. So I don't know why that's their biggest support system when, I mean, let's just say that, a lot of Latinos, blacks, people of color, and black communities, higher percentage vote for Democrats.
But when you say Republicans are not looking out for anyone, how would you respond to someone that says, yes, Republicans are looking out for someone? They're looking out for the unborn, because if we left it in your hands, you would kill them all. How would you respond to that?
They don't care about the born. Adoption agencies, foster care agencies, sex trafficking in America. Like, let's stop acting like they care about life, and let's focus on exactly what 48% of the Republican Party believe about white replacement theory. I mean, like I hear you say it all the time. If somebody shows you who they are, believe them. I don't know why I don't know why people thinking like, oh, these people gonna change, like by like the black community, Latino community. Okay, like, if you don't vote for me, you're not black. Now everybody, a black person, knows that he meant
Yeah,
all
yeah,
all skin folk and kinfolk. Because
yeah.
we let's be real, we let him into too many of our cookouts. Biden was in all the Black Lives Matter cookouts, 2020, 2000. He was just play every time you see him,
But
he
but
had a
but you
plate walking
gotta
from a party.
you gotta bring up the crime bill. Biden was deep in that three strike stuff. I mean, Biden
Yeah,
is
Biden.
responsible for voting things that
Yeah,
put a lot of black people in jail.
Biden co-authored the crime bill. If anybody
Yeah.
reads the crime bill, which a lot of, as they will call pork, Republicans call pork, 8 or 9 articles was taken out the crime bill regarding rehabilitation, regarding uh, what Trump passed, the whatever that first act step, that was in the crime bill. They took a lot of the good things that could have actually helped the communities out. And the Democrats, yeah, they did. They folded it and they passed it. Nobody's gonna doubt that. But to make it seem like Biden held this golden bill and walked it right to the president, was like, sign the crime bill. Like, that's not what
Yeah,
happened. Like,
I've said that before. He certainly, as a senator, did not do that shit alone. But
no,
I
no.
mean, but I've said before that even right now, there is not a lot of love for President Biden in the African American community. In fact, the liberals themselves, when you look at the polls, the Liberal Party as a whole there are more people who believe Biden should let someone else run in 2024 than there are liberals that believe he should seek re-election. So I've said it to one of my callers earlier in this live, is that the only reason that Biden survived is because his opponent is Trump. People dislike Trump more than Biden. If Biden was running against a more moderate Republican, his chances of losing would be greater.
As if you're a person of color and or a black person, and you think that the Republican Party in any shape or form has a majority of people that think like you, I got 14 BMWs in my parking lot right now. I can sell you. Just cash at me. No, but like what this is what I mean by you can't keep telling people, calling black people that we're dumb, we're stupid, we don't see. We have the Republican Party that's to this day still saying racist thing and not apologizing for it. Not like, again, I'm 40 something years old. Every day I come on this app, somebody teaches me something new about the LGBTQ community and or their politics where I have to be appropriate. Like, oh, sorry, I didn't know that. This is the way I grew up and this is the way I speak. But I'm learning. And we understand that about most of these older white people in Congress. They're learning, and you have to be accountable for your mistakes. Like Biden has said, sorry, I shouldn't have said that. Y'all, I had too much barbecue this summer with BLM. I done went to a couple of protests. Pelosi had on a kente scarf. You remember she had to apologize about that. She was just saying, like, I'm sorry, I was trying to respect.
When we hammer them like that, we know that they're trying to make an effort, and you start hammering Pelosi for a scarf or some shit. That's what people say when they say that the liberals are too much in the cancel culture and trying to shut everybody. You know that woman is there trying to work with you. The fact that she put on a scarf, let the bride get away with that. I mean, so
no, see, this is what I mean. That's what we say. We have to start embedding younger people into Congress because it's called decency. It's not me saying I want you to do this, be that way, call me him, her, they. It's just decency. When you out in public, your child shouldn't point their finger at a man. Mom, that man looks ugly in that dress. Like it's called decency. And it just seems like the further you go right, you have to be inhumane. You have to say, I don't like LGBT. I don't like this. I don't like that. I don't like this.
But let me say this. Under President Bush, we didn't have people saying that. This is a specific issue because obviously Trump made a name for himself by nicknaming everybody. But under President Bush, all of this insulting, people they were saying things about the Republican Party, particularly Kanye West saying George Bush does not like black people. But you didn't hear people complaining about the nicknames because George Bush didn't act that way. And if you notice, George Bush has been, he's taking pictures with Michelle Obama and all kinds of shit. Yeah. Trump, on the other hand, it's personal, and his relationship is permanently altered with people.
And okay, so me and you around the same age, you would be like my big brother. So I've asked the LGBT community, and they were like, yeah, you're right about that. And I know you and me can remember shows like Sally, Ricky Lake, all the old shows. They used to have on their shows Born Man of Woman. And you remember you used to get your pen and paper out, and they used to bring out 10 trans, 5 trans and 5 women that were born woman. Yeah. And you know what I mean? And we didn't disrespect them. It was not to say it like that, but even the community said like, yeah, it was normal. We all grew up on Crooklyn. We know RuPaul. We know it was not a thing until they made it a thing. And then when people say like,
I gotta move it on, but I gotta disagree. I think the word vestite, they were cross-dresser, they were being insulted. Even in the black community, I know they were, but I gotta move it on, man.
I just meant as far as when even we had decency back then with our TV shows where they tried to make it common, where they tried to make it normal. And now people are going outraged about bathrooms and having to teach their kids at home. But look at how your kids are being raised. There was almost 1,700 kids last year that was canceled. They can't even go to college anymore because they made ridiculous videos because they don't have decency anymore. And like I said, America, people get mad at me, but America is not used to people color and black people being able to tease and bully them back. It's not normal to a lot of
I
white
don't
people.
disagree with that. I don't disagree with that. All right, black man, I got to move it on though.
All right, man, you have a good one.
Hey, good talk. Okay, and I've asked this question before because you got a lot of folks in the trans community talking about using the bathroom of their choice, and that became a big issue because folks on the right don't like it. Two issues I have. First of all, we need to stop confusing people of the LGBT community as abusers of children, pedophiles, even myself, if I'm sitting in the locker room after working out in the gym or something, and a gay guy who's in the gym comes in the locker room as well, why do we automatically assume that he's going to be attracted to me? He's going to be staring at me. They have a type too. We keep confusing them as if they're abusive to people, which is why you don't want them using the other bathroom, is because you believe they're going to abuse children. They're just people who like folks of the same sex. They're not child abusers. And so that is the first thing. The second point I often make is, if you are a guy that identifies as a woman, you're walking around dressed and look like a woman, just go use the damn bathroom. You don't have to ask permission. Nobody's going to pay attention to you walking in there and using the stall. I'm 6'6", 300 pounds. There might be some girls like, that's a big ass bitch that just walked in here. But that's it. She's not going to go under the stall and see what I'm working with. I mean, it might not be a problem, but she's not going to do that. So let me just walk in the bathroom, close the stall, drop out a few logs, and go on my own. You don't have to ask permission to do this crap. So that's where the problem is that the LGBT community in some cases are making spectacles of things they don't have to make spectacles of. I mean, every day doesn't have to be a pride parade. You don't have to just be, effing with people for the sake of effing with people. Like I said, if you're dressed as a woman, just go in the woman's room. Just go in the bathroom. You're going to be in there 5 minutes, 10 minutes if you're talking about me after some oatmeal, and you'll be out. It's that simple. They're making a spectacle of it and drawing attention to themselves. Okay, going back to the box, DJ, Fly Guy. That's my thing. The ladies' room has doors to. Nobody's going to know what you're doing in there. DJ Fly Guy, good afternoon.
Whoa.
1940s Germany. What's up?
What's good, man? What's happening with you?
Nothing. I always love that air raid siren. What's on your mind this afternoon?
Man, let me tell you, man. This Republican Party, the people the senators that you see right now, they're just running a circus. And they need to call
elaborate. What do you mean? What do you mean by they running a circus?
They need to call, because all they do is tell jokes and they sit back and laugh about it, while the rest of the country is serious about actually solving things that's keeping us in poverty, that's actually keeping us divided, that's actually have you with the kids being safe in school and the gun violence, like legitimate things that we're concerned about, they're laughing about. They're making jokes.
Wait a minute. They are concerned about things as well, though. They're concerned about the border. They're concerned about the economy. You're not dismissing what they're concerned about, are you?
No, I'm not saying that. All I'm saying is when you got people, even though they're Democrats, even though they're liberals, even though they're independents, I don't care, and some Republicans got some good ideas. If they were serious about it, then they'll meet down the aisle. You got senators right now that are saying, if y'all think Republicans and Democrats are going to come together and we just going to sit there and get things done, you're sadly mistaken. And Matt Gaetz just said that about 2 weeks ago.
Well, the problem is Yeah, but see, the problem is there are some social issues where there is no coming down the aisle. Do you believe in common sense gun control, or do you believe the Second Amendment shall not be infringed upon? There is no meeting of the minds on that. You either on one side or the other. There is no middle point to shall not be infringed. Do you believe in protecting the sanctity of life from conception? There is no middle point for that. So, unfortunately, some of these social issues that they're debating, there's no middle ground. I don't know how you could come to the table on something where somebody is not willing to entertain anything on the other side, just like with the trans community. There's no middle ground. If you believe that there are only two genders, there's no middle ground. All them other pronouns are invalid. So I don't know how we could do this.
Well, I think I might have a little small solution. I don't know how many of them are, like it, but say the guy that just turned 17, the one that his grandparents wouldn't pay a cent and shot up the school, right?
Okay.
The gun store that he went to, just say the owner would have had a good conversation with him, found out what he liked about guns, what he planned on doing with it. Does he know anything about guns? Just had a general conversation with him. 15,
right.
20-minute conversation with him. And at the end of the conversation, determined that, he saw some red flags. So he has the right to determine if he's going to sell him that gun at the time.
Yeah, but the guy who's selling pistols or selling guns, he's not a psychiatrist. He could end up denying somebody who rightfully deserves a weapon because of something that's going on in his past. You're not determined. I mean, you're not educated enough to make that decision as a gun seller. You need to be somebody like a Dr. Phil or somebody who has went to school. That's infringement. What you're talking about. Now, would it save some lives?
But I'm not saying get into a deep psychological profile. I'm not saying
20 minutes.
That.
20 minutes is pretty deep.
Well, I'm just saying, you can have a 20-minute conversation just sitting. I mean, you do it every day. Each one of your people that come on here.
Yeah, I do. And you see some of the shit that I discovered.
Exactly. That's exactly what I'm saying. I mean, any decent human being could have had a conversation with that young boy, found out where his mind was at, and made a conscientious decision, not to sell him that gun.
Yeah, but you can't do that. You can't have regular citizens making decisions on whether somebody should have a gun to protect themselves. You can't. I mean, because somebody's going to make a mistake. Let's say, for instance, I had somebody that broke in my house two nights in a row. So I want to go out and buy a gun, and I'm pissed. I want blood. So I go there to buy a gun. The guy has a 20-minute conversation, and he, based on the conversation, like, this guy looking to kill some fucking body. I'm not selling him a gun. Next day I go home, third burglary happened, and I'm killed doing that burglary because this guy decided on his own not to sell me a gun. Now my family might have a case against him. I don't think that we should give citizens that level of power, and I'm certain the folks on the right would never entertain that.
Yeah, they probably wouldn't. I don't know. I mean, it just to me, it just makes sense. I mean, to me, it just makes sense. For the gun stores to have something that and I know that a lot of gun stores, the owners are white, and I hope that wouldn't make a difference. When it came down to who they choose to have a gun or not, but owning a gun, especially a high magazine, high capacity magazine, man, we ought to be able to, have some kind of control over that. I mean, if you just let anybody walk in a gun store, just buy a gun, leave the gun store, and walk straight to a school, if nobody sees a problem with that, then I don't care if you're right or left.
See, here's the problem. Just like because what you're talking about doing is exactly what we don't want them doing to us, and that is taking away rights. You don't want just anybody to change their gender or just anybody to have an abortion, which is why they tried to pass a law that required a woman that wanted an abortion to have to go home and wait 24 hours and things like that to try to alter her mind. You're doing that with gun control. We didn't like it when they tried to do that to us on things that we favor. They're not going to agree when we try to do that to them on things they favor. I don't think it would work. I think, in fact, if you start allowing gun owners to potentially make decisions whether to sell somebody a gun or not, the first argument is going to be you're now having way too many liberals opening up gun stores so they can deny us the right to own a gun. You're not selling me a gun, you must be a tree hugger, aren't you? It would create even more division, in my opinion, if you did that.
Who told you I was a tree hugger?
No, I'm talking about the guy behind the counter.
I'm messing with you. I'm messing with you.
You got me. You got me on that. You got me on that. But no, yeah, I think that
I get it, man. I get it. It's just I don't know, man. It seems like it's a snowball that just done got out of hand and then it done got too big to try and control. And I don't know, what they're going to do about it. But I just know one thing, that this party, the senators, the people that are representing Republicans right now, are really making Republicans look shaky.
Yeah.
You don't know which one.
Being honest, and I got to move it on, I'll give you the last word, but being honest, I'll just say this. I think it will get better. I mean, I hate to say it for my MAGA folks, but once Trump is gone and you get a more typical politician, Trump is, as folks say all the time, Trump is not a typical politician. And a lot of the problems we're having now is because of that. Once Trump is out of the picture, I think the Republican Party will return to the Republican Party that you may have come to know and hate being a liberal, but it would be that same boring party, small government, fiscal responsibility, pro-Christianity, pro-life, the things they used to be. All of the orbiting things that are really pissing people off will, I believe, go away with President Trump. And I've said this before, that if Trump did the exact same shit he was doing as a Republican politician without all of the rhetoric and stuff on the side, he would have got a second term. I strongly believe if he was any other Republican, not name calling and doing all, he would have got a second term in office. So in the future, I expect him to go back there.
That's true, but they're gonna. They're gonna preach Donald Trump until way after me and you are gone from here. They're gonna support him. They're not gonna let that go, man. I don't know what. I mean, this man possibly has committed treason, and you're still gonna have him stand by him, and you're still gonna have people flying his flags and all that kind of stuff. They believe one thing: America was intended for one kind of people, and everybody else need to stay in their place. That's just where we live. So
wow. All right, DJ. Always a pleasure.
Yes, sir.
Good talk. Okay, sorry, handsome. The Republican Party isn't coming back. RBG forever. It's interesting you would say that with a name like RBG for Ruth Bader Ginsburg forever. In regards to whether the Republican Party is coming back, I would submit to you that you may change your tune in about 4 days. I'm a liberal, so obviously I want things to go left. I've already voted, but hell, even CNN and MSNBC is admitting that they strongly believe from their own polling that at least Congress is going left and Congress is going right, and that the Senate, although it's still in favor of the Democrats maintaining the Senate, that confidence is dying more and more as closer we get. So the entire mood of the voters in this country is moving right. So when you say the Republican Party is not coming back, let's talk in about 4 days. And by the way, for you guys who do follow the program, for you who are not following the program, why the hell ain't you following this? I don't ban, I don't block, I don't censor. I love talking to MAGA friendly zone. Liberals are welcome. You can come in. I will never stop you from getting your point across, even if you're 100% disagreeing with the host. That never means a damn thing. But what I wanted to point out is I am going to be on live for 5 fucking straight hours on election night, 7 p.m. Central till midnight. Come on through, stay a while, talk some shit, get in the box. You can celebrate or you can cry with your boy. Regardless of what side of the aisle you're on, 7 p.m. Central, I believe that'll be 8 on the East Coast, so that means Atlanta, Herschel Walker, that race, hopefully we can call that race on air, talk about it early, but we'll see. But come on in, cry with your boy, laugh with your boy, celebrate, or depends on what happens with your particular candidacy and in your state. Zay Williams, 580. Good afternoon, if it lets me bring you to the live here. Zay Williams. We'll try this again. I don't know what's going on with TikTok today. Let's see if it lets me bring you in. By the way, we'll go to the comments. I just farted, and it smells like garlic-flavored pork rinds. See, I'll let you guys get your point across. That came from Benjamin Torres. He just farted, and it smells like garlic-flavored pork rinds. I suppose you are a Republican. Okay, look it in the comments. Democrats help Republicans hate. Democrats help Republicans hurt America. How? How so? Friend of the program, the only Jammy. How is that done? Are there any influential Republicans that are coming to the table with serious, sensible solutions? Depends on the topic. There are Republicans coming to the table that believes a woman should have the right to choose up to the first trimester. Is that a sensible solution? There are Republicans that believe that the age of maturity for owning a rifle should be raised to 21. Is that a sensible? Yeah, there are Republicans coming to the table on some of this stuff. Every Republican is not bang hardcore right-winger. There are sensible Republicans out there. So try not to fall into the category of stereotyping all leftists as socialists or all right-wingers as racists. There are plenty of folks that are willing to listen and move closer to the middle. This is why I also brought up that I believe things will smooth out a little bit more after Trump, is because once Trump is gone, I believe the people will be allowed to speak more freely. And I'm talking about the Republican Party. Right now, the Republican Party is mainly a party of Trump. So if Trump doesn't like something, a lot of the Congress and Senate are afraid to speak out about it because they don't want to end up like Jeb Bush, Adam Kinzinger, or freaking Liz Cheney or somebody. They don't want to lose their jobs. But, during the Bush era, the Republican Party was not that supportive of Bush like that. So you can speak out. Same thing with Obama. We loved Obama. But there were liberals that didn't feel like criticizing Obama was going to cost them their job. Criticizing Trump can cost you your job, if not more. It's not safe as a Republican to criticize Trump. So I don't think Ron DeSantis, even though he has a lot of respect among the Republican community, I don't think the love and adoration for Ron DeSantis will be to that level like it was under Trump. I believe if you get Ron DeSantis in 2024 and Trump starts to go into the background, Republicans can start now working with liberals and I believe it'll be a little bit more, I don't know, I'm not going to say unity, but I think it'll be a little bit more where people can speak out. But under the Trump candidacy, as long as Trump is out there, you're not really allowed to speak freely. And that's a problem. That can be a problem because if you like Trump's policies, that's fine. The economy was great under Trump. But he makes mistakes. He's not perfect, no different than no other politician is perfect. And the problem is you cannot criticize his imperfection without being called a rhino or something like that. And of course, we all know he's not going to apologize or anything like that. So if he does something wrong and you are a Republican politician and people are asking you about it, well, you really can't criticize him because people start calling in and trying to get you out. But at the same time, he's not apologizing, so you can't say it was a mistake. So it puts all of the politicians below him in this precarious situation. Okay, yeah, maybe he slipped up on that. Okay, the reporter responded, well, why didn't he say he slipped up? Why didn't he apologize? And then you got to come up with some bullshit like, well, he don't ever, he never apologizes. That doesn't sound right. That wouldn't happen under Bush, probably not even under DeSantis or none of them. That's what a typical politician does. They listen to the people, and if they screw up, they try to fix it with the people. A non-typical politician might just say, fuck your feelings. Who cares? That's a problem. Let's try this again. This is going to be interesting. I always enjoy talking to the men. 100% MAGA through and through. It is indeed the one and only Handsome Harris. What's on your mind this afternoon, Handsome?
Hello, sir. How are you?
I'm delighted to be talking to you. What's going on?
Listen, I know this is kind of your short show, so I'll keep it pretty short and sweet here. I just want to remind everybody that everybody needs to do their part, and for just a low price of $8 a month, you can sponsor a celebrity on Twitter and make sure that they have a blue check mark next to their name.
Okay, I don't know what that's got to do with unity, but okay. The question we asking today, though, is can the Republican Party restore unity as opposed to Biden? If we were to have a Republican administration resume office in 2024, do you believe America will be more unified? Let's say Trump got reelected. You think the country will become more unified?
Not at first, no. I don't think it would at first. I think there would be, if Trump was reelected, I think there would be too much of a sting to the liberals. I think there would be too much just anger. But I think overall, I think Trump would probably take a different approach in a second term. So I don't think he would be as snarky. I don't think he would be as, I guess some would say, mouthy. I think he would take a little bit more of a low-key approach to the actual office itself. I don't think he would probably, if he's allowed back on Twitter, I don't think he would tweet as much. I think he would stick more to the policy aspect of it, just because he kind of learned that was a turnoff for a lot of even Republicans. So I think he would kind of tone things down. I think he would tone down what you guys call his rhetoric. So I do overall think that he would kind of stick to the policy. He would stick to the point, and I think that would be a more unifying point.
So you're suggesting that Trump has potentially learned his lesson from the rhetoric of the past, that he's actually realized he was hurting himself?
I do.
Wow. I don't agree with you, obviously, but wow, this is a different Harris. Am I talking to the one and only Harris Jordan? Is this an imposter?
It is not an imposter. I think, and the point I'm getting at is I think that what we're seeing right now with Biden is you're seeing the type of rhetoric, you're seeing the type of divisiveness that a lot of people called Trump out for.
Yes,
and I don't think that he's going to go down that road again. I think that he's understanding, like, look, okay, you guys called me out for it, and you're not calling your own guy out for it. So now I'm going to tone it down. So I'm not going to give you the option to call me out for it.
I agree with the first part of that. I disagree with the second part. The first part, I agree that Biden is doing to Trump what Trump was doing to others, what Trump was doing to Hillary Clinton. And it's starting to be clear that the fuck your feelings crowd and pay attention to what he does, not what he says crowd, is just as emotional. And I've said this numerous times on my lives, is that for the folks who are telling us to pay attention to what Trump does and just ignore what he says, are saying that because the insults are not aimed at them. I've said it before that better yet, if you had Obama or you had Biden or another liberal in there giving us the same economy and policies of Trump, but he was criticizing Christians and gun owners all day, they would be complaining about it. They're not complaining because the insults are not aimed at them. Now that we have Biden in office and the insults are actually aimed at them, it's clear that they too care about what people say. It's no longer, don't pay attention to what he says. They're paying attention to what he says because he's aiming the insults right at them.
Well, I don't think it's necessarily we're upset about what he says per se. I think it's the point of Okay, you guys said that that Trump was divisive and he should stop saying the things that he's saying, but
Mm-hmm.
nobody is calling out Biden for what he's doing. Like the last speech that he just did the other day, he
Yeah,
did literally nothing but point his finger at the right side of
that
politics.
is true. That's true. Well, and
And
I agree with you.
and Trump Trump for better or for worse, he did a lot of pointing his finger at the left, and he was called out on a daily basis for it. But yet nobody on the left, nobody in their own party is calling out Biden for that speech. He
But he
did
wasn't.
nothing to
He
talk about
wasn't.
solutions.
Yeah, but
All
he
he did
wasn't.
was place blame.
Yeah, but Trump was not called out for the right. They were cheering at Pocahontas and stuff like that. You're right.
What do
Trump was
you?
called out. Trump was called
There,
out by the left. He wasn't called out by the right. The right
there's
was
been
saying,
there's been
"Go ahead."
plenty of people in the Republican Party that have called out Trump for what he says.
Well, there are people that call out Biden on the View, for instance. They on the View they were saying that Biden's speech was divisive. There are people that have called out Biden, but I'm saying the party as a whole on the Trump side of the aisle favored his speech. The F your feelings crowd, that's all that's about. Get on the Trump train to get ran over. They didn't care about the what things he was saying. And there are Biden supporters that do not care about what he's saying. But Biden is doing to Trump exactly what Trump did to the likes of Hillary Clinton and a host of other liberals. He's painting a horrible picture on them.
Right. And I have not seen to the level that it was done to Trump. I have not seen anybody calling out Biden.
I got a reason why that
There
may
may
have
have
happened.
been one or two news channels that said, yeah, that probably wasn't a great speech, but not to the level of Trump. And that's what we're calling out. We're calling out the hypocrisy.
Okay. That's a fair point, and I'll give you my reasoning on that. You're saying that the liberals called out Biden, but far, far less or you're saying the right called out Trump at a far greater stance than the liberals are calling out Biden. And my response is because the quantity, the number of inflammatory speeches coming from Biden are a fraction of what Trump is doing. Trump was holding rallies all over the country attacking Hillary Clinton. Biden is one on TV when he was in red. He's had the other speech the other day in a few town halls. He's criticized Trump like that a handful of times. Trump was doing that stuff every week. So you're going to hear less calling out of Biden because the amount of attacks are far less.
Well, I'll just say these. I'll just say this point in response to that. That's because Biden probably can't even find the stage. But anyways, so I'm kind of curious.
And that's an attack too, by the way.
I know that's just a smart ass response.
Right.
But it was funny and more than likely somewhat factually correct. But the
Hey, real quick before you go, you still believe the Republicans are going to take 58 Senate seats?
Yes.
That's not going to happen. That's not going to happen.
So, real quick, I wanted to ask you, in Biden's speech, he said that election deniers they breed chaos and that they are a threat to democracy. What will you say on Wednesday, November 9th? What will you say if it does turn out that there was a massive red wave and it is the historic landslide that is being expected? What will you say if Biden and other Democrats come out and say that there was fraud or that there was something wrong with the election?
The same thing I will say when Trump said it. Prove it. Show me proof. If you can show me proof, I'll believe it even on the Trump side. Show me evidence. That's why I watched 2,000 Mules a half dozen times. Show me the evidence, which is exactly what Attorney Barr told Trump when he said it. If you can show evidence, you got a case. So if the Democrats call it, let me see the evidence.
Okay, and that's great. And if you do, that's great. But if you do call out for, if you do say, let me see the proof, or if I do see election deniers on TikTok, what on the liberal side, what then happens if they are not taken down by TikTok or any social media for denying an election?
Then that would mean the app is biased. Like I said, I can't control the app, but that would mean if you got Democrats on here saying that Stacey Abrams won by a landslide when all of the Georgia polls are giving it to Kemp or something like that, and TikTok does nothing about it, then yeah, it's showing bias from the app. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I got to move it on as usual. Handsome Harris,
All right, brother.
come on back through anytime. Good
All
talk.
right.
By
Hey,
the way.
what time are you going to be on election night so I can?
7 p.m. Central. That's when I believe the races on the East Coast should be coming to a conclusion. That's when they'll stop taking in ballots and things like that. 7 p.m. Central. I'll be on for 5 hours, so I'll definitely have to bring me some water. Hey, look forward to seeing you then.
All right, brother. Have a good one.
You too. Good talk. As usual, unfortunately, I do got to end the live. I am on lunch break, and I got to get my ass back to work. It's been a pleasure talking to you guys as always. As I always say, don't ban, block, or censor any of your comments. The fact that you disagree with the host doesn't mean a damn thing. As usual, you could be anywhere you want to be on social media. The fact that you're rolling with your boy, 30,000 likes, it's been a pleasure. Shout out to you. 7 p.m. Central tonight. Catch you guys then. It's your boy Tim, the Handsome Liberal. I'm out.